In my early 20s I was playing around with my Amiga 500 and some kind of tracker software. It was amazing for me how easy it was to create a piece of music with the computer and only the computer. The result wasn't that good when I played it to some of my colleagues and friends. All I earned was a smile, and I don't know if it was a honest, yeah, that was good smile. I think it was a little more kind of not that happy smile. This ended my career of being an aspiring musician, and there's no one to blame for that, not even my colleagues for their smiles. The piece I made wasn't very good, but it was a beginning. Anyways, I don't even blame myself for that, because I had a wonderful career, and I still have, as a writer and video producer, and I always convinced myself about my musicianship, and it was always, no, I'm not a musician. 30 years later, around 2 years ago, I started watching some online video courses. I wanted to watch Werner Herzog about filmmaking and some other guys about filmmaking, and somehow I began watching video online courses by deadmau5 and Armin van Buuren. That being said, I'm not a techno fan, nor I'm a big dance music fan. I always loved punk rock, classic rock and all that stuff, but it was fascinating how those guys were able to make music with the computer, and how far making music on a computer came after all these 30 years. And so I started playing around with it, and soon after that I found VCV Rec. It was 0.6 at this time, and I started playing around with it, and so it began. Suddenly I found myself playing around with sounds and noise and LFOs and all that stuff. I had no idea about what I was really doing, but it was so interesting, and still it wasn't any kind of music I made. I made noise, organized noise, and after this experience with VCV Rec 0.6 I straight went on to Thomann's. They are 40 kilometers away from here, and I bought my first Eurorec system. It was the A100 by Döpfer, and the guy who sold me the A100 just said, you know, this is only the beginning, and he was so right. I spent so much money on synthesizers, but that's another topic. Gear acquisition syndrome is another topic next time. The A100 is kind of restricted opposed to VCV Rec. VCV Rec is like being a kid in a candy store. You have so many modules, but the A100 limited what I can do, and it forced me to spend more time with the modules and to learn more about modular and Eurorec. But still, I don't think this is kind of musicianship in a classical sense, where some very skilled people with quick fingers play and do amazing things. All in all, it's just me turning some knobs and waiting for the results, finding kind of sounds, harmonic and music. I think that's something else opposed to what people do who can really play an instrument. When I released my first video on Facebook doing some modular ambient stuff with lots of reverbs, one of the comments was, yeah, nice, but I prefer playing real music on real instruments. And I wasn't so angry or disappointed about this comment, because he is a musician and he is very skilled and he plays the jazz guitar, and I am not a musician. I just do some organized noise, and I'm fine with that. I think what I do is not so much about being a musician. It's about finding a new realm of creativity. Yes, it sounds big, but it's a big thing for me, because I was writing, I made films, videos, and I learned so much about those kind of media, about those ways of expressing your creativity, and finding sound was really a big thing, and I push the door open and I'm still wandering around there with big eyes about all the possibilities, about what you can do with sounds and maybe with music too. I started to learn a few scales. I went to the YouTube University and learned some things about music theory, and I think I can use it, but I don't know if I am a musician yet. When do I start being a musician? That's quite an interesting question, because my kind of making or organizing those sounds, they went last 1 year into a direction of more harmonic, more pleasing sounding stuff, and not so much this cranky, noisy sounds that I still love, and I love doing them, especially with the Lyra 8. But is this musicianship now? Am I a musician? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care that much, because what's so wonderful about making music with a synth and making videos about it is that I find so many interesting people who are on the same journey and who also do very interesting music stuff and noise and ambient music and also techno. I don't know why, but I got interested in doing techno, and that's the main thing. It's not if I'm a musician or not. I love doing those sounds, and it's so pleasing to have other people around, especially here, who do the same thing and enjoy it. And that's the main thing. Enjoy it. Bye.